The question is, though, do we want to write this naiva like this or naiva like this? Do we distinguish coronal plosives and non-sibilant fricatives? We can back off. I kind of like the way this looks, though. Interesting. That's weird looking. I was wrong. Alas. Welcome back, YouTube. We are working on Lenethailef again, and we're going to give it an orthography. So I don't think we should wait around too long. Let's just get started. Let's do it. I'm excited. You're excited, hopefully. And yeah, we've got orthographies to write. So here's our language. You've seen, I think, if you've seen the rest of this series, you'll have seen the lead up to this. If not, I'd recommend checking out the playlist, because otherwise it's going to be a lot of contextless stuff. But we have this a sentence here, a viduk. Actually, we will have changed some of these. I believe this should be faya now, because we know what the swan genitive is. Okay, a viduk faya naiva mon mazel uchmas huask mauch. And this is now going to be moch. Excuse me. Okay, well, let's see if there's anything else I need to change. Okay, no. Aviduk faya naiva mon mazel uchmas huask moch hazen uchskoft sonum quoth sukswan. So what we have here is the first sentence of a fable. What we need to do is turn this into some orthography. So we need to come up with an orthography, and I think let's do it in context. So right away, I think I don't want to be writing schwa. What I think we could do is write it with E. So let's zoom in even more. And let's just sort of get rid of some of this clutter on the screen. Give ourselves some more room. So I think what we should do is write schwa with E. And then what we'll do is we'll write proper e when it's in a main syllable with some sort of a diacritic. We don't have any examples of that, but I don't know what we would do. What could we do? We could use I don't know, an acute accent. I always like putting circumflexes on things. I find that amusing. It's like it gives some real sort of fantasy map. You know, at the start of a fantasy novel, you see the cool map, and you see all these places with names, and the vowels have circumflexes on them. It's like, wow, that's cool. I mean, that's my experience. So maybe we could have e be like this, or the other option, you know, the sort of the French style system would be this kind of a. But regardless, we don't actually have to make a decision on that yet. So we have a viduk. So we could do for the, we don't have an actual phonemic distinction between the and the in this language. We have allophonic voicing of fricatives in intervocalic position. So we could do something like a viduk faya. The question is, though, because we do have front rounded vowels, we may want to use our y, our y for y, IPA style, and then use j for the yod. I don't know. I actually don't love using j for yod in romanizations. I find that too few people know the convention of writing the palatal glide like that. And so I feel as if we could use, if we're going to be using diacritics, let's just use some more diacritics for the front rounded vowels. So aviduk faya naiva And the question is, do we want to write this naive like this or naive like this? I think we should treat the I really want there to be a V there. Do we distinguish coronal plosives and non-sibilant fricatives? Let's see. I believe we do. I believe we do, but I'm not. Okay, let me just take a look here. I need to run something through the through Lexergy. Where is it? So we have tochwe. I think it's afitochwe. Which is giving us our because. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that this first line might be missing some sound changes that have been applied. Alas. So instead of aviduk, we have avidus. Avidus via naive. Yeah, I think we might have to do a proper phonological analysis of this of Lenethailef, because a lot of sound changes have applied in various conditions which have set up allophonic distinctions, but I'm not sure what all of them are off the top of my head. So I'm not sure what all of them are off the top of my head. But another thing we could do with the romanization is kind of stray from the phonemic principle in favor of the principle of coolness, which is always a popular one. I'm going to do something. I'm just going to do sort of a very naive, like, I'm trying to help English speakers pronounce this style romanization first, and then we can back off. Okay, so here I've made a few decisions. I'm doing this voiceless velar fricative as GH because this is a devoiced version of the voiceless velar fricative that we see elsewhere in the word. The interdental fricative, the velar fricative, and the interdental fricative and the velar fricative are only ever voiceless at the end of the word. The bilabial fricative, or the labiodental fricative actually, exists voiceless in other parts of the word. So it exists voiceless at the start of the word, as you can see, faya, because we had a chain shift of P going to F, whole complicated thing. So I think it may be worth distinguishing between F and V. I just don't know if V can occur word initially. I don't think it can. So I think it still is in complementary distribution with F and V are in complementary distribution with one another. I don't know. We'll have to think about this. But basically, avidas faya naive mon mazel uchmas. I think that is pretty good. And then we could also do the thing. Yeah, we could also do the thing. Well, Raven asks about the velar fricative. I was wrong. we do have velar fricatives in word initial position. So maybe it makes sense to do this. Uch, UKH, and KHWSK, Huask, Moch, Hazen, Uch, Skoft. But what if we did Huask, 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 Moch, Haz. No, but we have the glottal. Nope, can't do it. What about that? Huask, Moch, Hazen, Uch, Skoft. Gives a very different vibe, doesn't it? I kind of like that. It's kind of Welsh, a bit Welsh. Then we have to figure out whether we're basically going to have a phonemic orthography or not. Because whenever you see S in between vowels, it's going to be a Z. And whenever you see V in between vowels, I think it is going to be an F. So does it make sense to do a vidas faya naiva mon mazel uchmas, like having kind of an Old English style orthography for this? A vidas faya naiva mon mazel uchmas, huask moch hazen uchskoft. And here we're making a distinction between this alternating velar fricative, because in etymologically it's coming from a voiced velar fricative, and it's going to show up as a voiced velar fricative. But of course, would the other one that comes... No, okay. No. I'm tying myself into knots here. Rising Rose, thank you. Hydration reminder received. Hydration achieved. And we're stretching. This is a pretty sad stretch, but nevertheless, I don't know. Maybe we should just do Huask moch hazen uch skoft. But then we remember that when the CH shows up between vowels, it's going to be voiced. I kind of like the way this looks, though. Evidas faya naiva mon mazel uchmas, huask moch hazen uchskoft, sonam quoth sukswan. Yeah, I like this. So, what do some of our more adventurous word forms look like in this? So if we were to write out the whole, let's write out the whole paradigm for crow. I'll just give us another column here. Oops, there we go. So we have huask. Then we have huask, and then we have to decide what to do here, but I think it's going to end up being I need my IPA keyboard. Actually, I need more like a German keyboard. There we go. Huaskuich. Yeah, I like that. Huascanum. Golf. Huaskyven. What do we think? Chat? We like the way this is looking? Yeah, it does. It has kind of Celtic, kind of Old English vibes, especially with the C, and especially with the writing F for something that alternates between F and V. Real Old English vibes there. Yeah, it does have some Celtic vibes as well. It's interesting because when we started this language, a lot of the sound changes were based on Old French. And I feel as if we're in some ways moving away from that. And I like that because it gives us, if we start out influenced by one thing and then veer in another direction, basically copying from many things is basically like being original, right? So that helps us. Interesting. That's weird looking. Quack has a question. When creating grammar for your conlang, where should you start? That's a really good question. My approach is usually to start by jumping in right away and translating a short text. So this is why in this playlist, or in this series rather, the first thing we basically did after coming up with an inventory and a few word shapes was go right in and try and translate a little text, a little fable. And that gave us the opportunity to start to develop aspects of the grammar in context. And doing things in context is always a lot easier than doing them in the abstract. And I think as long as you can even start with one sentence and make a few decisions there, and then consider how those decisions affect the rest of the language which you've yet to create. So try and generalize from them a bit, and then try another sentence. And then when you put those two sentences together, you'll actually have created quite a lot of grammar, and the tendencies of the grammar will start to become more and more evident as you create more and more sentences. And you're essentially going to be hemming yourself in the more you do, but that's a good thing because hemming yourself in is also kind of like doing the job and completing the grammar. You don't want too much freedom for too long, or else you'll never, the language won't solidify. And so that's what I would start. I don't go through and say, okay, let's do the whole noun system. Okay, let's do the whole verb system. I always start with texts. But before that, I do basic phonology, so we can and come up with some ideas, some inspirations that we want to take for the language. Basically, the method that I use in this playlist is my actual method. So that's my suggestion for you, Quack. And if any more questions, put them in the chat, leave them on in the comments of the video, or come join the Discord and you can ask there. And there are tons of conlangers on there, so I'm sure they'd be happy to help, as will I. So let's This is really interesting. I kind of like it. And then the language will be spelled Lenethailef. Lenethailef. Yeah. I dig it. Oh, I'm glad it helped, Quack. Right. Okay, let's do another one. Oops, I moved you. Okay, let's do another one. This could be interesting. Yeah. Okay, let's do this word here. I don't know why it does that to me. Okay, astyma. Astyma. That means that's the place name, the fragrant coast. Then we have astamich. Astamich. Astamanum. Astamorph. Astamiven. Astamorph, astamom, astamom. Nice. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, here's one. This is going to give us some interesting looking words. Month. Oop. I don't have that in my in my clipboard anymore. Mendeuch. Mendonem. Mendof. Mendeuven. Mendof. Mendom. Cool. I'm happy with this this orthography. This is kind of good. And maybe we could do one more. Let's do the word for I. One. 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 Yanich. When, and here's how where we need to use our diacritic marking the true E. Where did it go? Here it is. Okay, tell me what you think looks better. We won't make a decision today, but chat, I'm open. I want to hear your thoughts. YouTube comments, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think looks better? We have to mark, we're using E on its own to mark schwa. So when we come to this form wenenum, do we use wenenum like that? Or do we use wenenum like that? I don't know. I kind of like them both. This makes me think of, I don't know what it makes me think of. It just has a cool look to it. And of course, then there's the perennial favorite, the classic fantasy world map, circumflex. And I suppose what we could also do, when you think about it, so we're using the sign that German use for umlaut. Above a U to indicate that it's front, above an O to indicate that it's front. If schwa is E, what would be fronted central mid vowel? A. Right? So maybe it's this, wenenum. I think this is the opposite of some languages that use this to mark schwa. But I actually kind of like the consistency of this. I don't know. Okay, 3 options. Friends, conlangers. We're going to put a big question mark here. And we're going to leave it. Weneven, one. And then we have to have it there too. Something to think about. Big brain moment indeed. So this is our attempt at a romanization for this language. I'm pretty excited about it, actually. Something about seeing it written down in a particular way just makes me think about the language in a different sense. I don't know what it is, but it's there. I think we should probably call it a day because it's way beyond 4, and I have to make sure that I do everything I have to do today. Although I have already done probably the most fun part of it. Sad. All downhill from here, or uphill. I don't know how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to come back to the full screen. Thank you. I'll say goodbye to YouTube now. Thank you so much for joining. We have had a great time together making an orthography. If you have strong opinions about the diacritic issue to mark A as opposed to schwa, leave it in the comments. Very happy to hear it. And otherwise, yeah, if this was your thing, please do consider giving the video a like or even subscribing because, hey, you'll see more of it that way. Otherwise, thank you again, and we'll see you next time.